There is a massive misconception floating around our industry right now. You see it in the headlines, you hear it in the studios, and you feel it in the general anxiety of the market. The story goes that because artificial intelligence can generate images and solve puzzles, the role of the architect is shrinking. I am here to tell you that the exact opposite is true. The role of the architect is not shrinking. It is about to expand. We are not facing extinction. We are facing an upgrade. We are entering an era where the barriers to execution are disappearing. The tedious tasks, the human errors, the hours lost to mindless production, those are going away. This leaves us with a new reality, the rise of the super architect, an era where a single architect armed with the right tools can do the work that used to take a team of 10. The question isn't, will I be replaced? The question is, are you ready to wield that kind of power? Hi, I'm Maria, an architectural designer and founder of Bogat Architecture and Design, and today we'll explore the future of our profession in the age of artificial intelligence. Before we dive into the technology, we need to contextualize the fear. We have a habit of panicking every time a new tool changes our workflow. If you look back at the early 1980s, there was a genuine fear that CAD, computer-aided design, was going to destroy the profession. The argument was that if you took away manual drafting, you took away the soul of architecture. People worried that if a computer could draw a straight line, the draftsperson would become obsolete. And they were half right. The role of the manual draftsperson did disappear, but the architect remained. In fact, CAD allowed us to become more precise. It allowed us to coordinate complex systems that were previously impossible to manage. Then, in the 2000s, it happened again with BIM. Everyone screamed that Revit would automate the design process and turn architects into data entry clerks. Yet the demand for architecture didn't drop. It skyrocketed. Why? Because we could deliver better, more integrated buildings. We are now at the third great inflection point. AI is the next layer of abstraction. But unlike the previous shifts, this isn't just automating the hand. It's automating the calculation. It's automating the efficiency. And that allows us to reclaim the one thing we never have enough of: time. So, what does this super architect future actually look like? It is not about AI doing the design for you. It is about AI clearing the path so you can design. Think about how much of your week is spent on tasks that require zero architectural creativity. Checking code compliance, calculating parking ratios, formatting schedules, hunting for clashes between the HVAC and the structural beams. These are necessary tasks, but they are not design. They are administrative friction. The promise of AI in our field is the removal of that friction. Imagine a workflow where the drudgery is handled instantly. We are looking at a future where you can run a feasibility study in minutes rather than weeks, where you can instantly check your model against local building codes to catch errors before they ever reach the job site, where the documentation process, the heavy lifting of turning a 3D model into 2D sheets, is streamlined and automated. This doesn't make you lazy, it makes you powerful. It minimizes mistakes. It creates a safety net that catches the technical errors, allowing you to focus your mental energy on the high-level problems, the spatial experience, the sustainability strategy, and the client's needs. We are moving toward a model where small firms can compete with corporate giants, simply because the sheer volume of production hours is no longer the deciding factor. The deciding factor becomes talent, vision, and efficiency. Now, I know what the skeptics are thinking. If the computer does the production, why does the client need me? This brings us to the human moat. There are three massive barriers that prevent AI from ever taking over the role of the architect of record. Moat number 1, legal liability. This is the most critical point. An AI cannot take any responsibility. An AI cannot carry professional liability insurance. Architecture is a regulated profession for a reason. Buildings can kill people. If a fire exit is blocked, if a waterproofing detail fails, someone has to be responsible. We are not just paid for our creativity, we are paid for our liability. We are paid to put our stamp on the drawing and say, I certify that this is safe. Until a robot can stand trial for negligence, a human architect will always be required to sign the drawings. Moat number 2, contextual nuance. AI works on averages. It is trained on the internet. It is great at the general, but terrible at the specific. An algorithm doesn't know that the neighbor on the south side is difficult. It doesn't understand the political history of a specific zoning board. It doesn't know that the soil on a specific lot has a history that isn't in the digital database. Architecture is the negotiation between the dream and the messy reality of the physical world. AI lives in the dream. We live in the reality. We are the bridge that connects the data to the dirt. Moat number 3, empathy and trust. Being a great architect is 50% design and 50% psychology. You have to convince a client to spend millions of dollars. You have to navigate the ego of a developer, the budget of a family, the demands of a community. An AI can generate a layout, but it cannot sit in a room with a stressed client and reassure them that the design will work for their life. It cannot read the room during a tense negotiation with a contractor. We sell trust. We sell assurance. Those are deeply human commodities. However, while the profession is safe, we have to be honest about who is at risk. The era of the Revit monkey is over. If your entire value to a firm is that you are good at software, if your job is purely technical production, drafting details and fixing red lines, you are in the danger zone. AI is coming for the workflow of pure production. The industry will no longer pay high hourly rates for basic drafting tasks that can be automated. The draftsman is dying. The architect is evolving. The people who are in trouble are the ones who refuse to adapt. The ones who say, I'm going to stick to the old ways because that's how I learned. In a market economy, efficiency wins. If firm A uses AI tools to minimize errors and produce documentation in 400 hours, and firm B does it manually in 800 hours, firm B cannot compete. Firm A isn't replacing their architects. They are empowering them to do more with less. They can charge the same fee, but spend those extra 400 hours on better design, better detailing, and better client service. So how do you position yourself to be this super architect? How do we thrive in this new landscape? 1. Shift from creator to editor. In the past, the bottleneck was production. It took a long time to draw the thing. Now production is becoming instant. The new bottleneck is judgment. The skill of the future is not just generating an idea, but curating the right idea. You need to sharpen your critical eye. You need to understand history, proportion, and construction methodology more than ever. Why? Because if you don't understand the fundamentals, you won't spot the mistakes the AI makes. You won't see the structural impossibility in a rendering. You need to be the sophisticated editor who directs the output. 2. Master the orchestration. The super architect is an orchestrator. You are the conductor of the symphony. Your job is to leverage these tools to handle the noise, the code checks, the energy modeling, the clash detection, so you can focus on the melody. Focus your brain space on the things that actually matter, the spatial experience, the material connections, and the overarching strategy. 3. Double down on the physical. As the digital world becomes cheaper and easier to fake, the physical world becomes more valuable. Focus on materials. Focus on how a handrail feels. Focus on how light hits a texture. These are things AI cannot simulate perfectly, and they are the things that make architecture human. We need to double down on the craft of building. If the AI handles the general massing, we should spend our time detailing the perfect window transition. We should spend our time on the job site ensuring the quality of construction. Finally, I want to touch on the ethics of this shift. There are valid concerns about the homogenization of style. If everyone uses the same algorithms, will all our cities start looking the same? This is a real danger. But we saw this with the international style in the mid-20th century. We saw this with glass curtain walls. Homogenization happens when architects get lazy. If you use AI as a crutch to copy-paste a style, you are part of the problem. But if you use AI as a tool to solve complex problems, to optimize for sustainability, and to minimize waste, you are part of the solution. The responsibility is on us to maintain the cultural integrity of our built environment. The machine doesn't care about culture. We do. So, to circle back to the core message, Will AI replace architects? No. It will replace the inefficiency. It will replace the drudgery. It will replace the late nights spent formatting sheets. But it will never replace the need for a human being to stand on a plot of land, look at the sun, talk to the people who will live there, and dream up a space that makes their lives better. Architecture is an act of optimism. It is an act of projecting the future. An algorithm can predict the next token in a sequence, but it cannot dream. That is your job. We are entering a new golden age of design, where the barrier to entry for complexity is lower than ever before. We have superpowers at our fingertips. The question is not, will this replace me? The question is, what will I build with it? I want to hear from you in the comments. How do you see your role evolving in the next 5 years? Are you ready to embrace this shift? Let's have a real discussion down there. If you found value in this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Until next time.